Welcome, Blue Believers, to another episode of the Stamford Sync, where we are syncing up with everything Chelsea FC. And welcome to another episode of Patch Notes, my series of match reviews, where we have a little look at the last game, and this is going to be a good one. So there's loads of stuff to get through, so let's just get into it. We won, we did a thing, it was a comprehensive win as well. Chelsea beat Esperance of Tunisia 3-0 in the Club World Cup, and I am very happy about it. Overall, it was a game of moments, right? But there is lots of really positive things that we saw in this game, and lots of things that made us all breathe a collective sigh of relief. So let's just talk about the game in general a little bit, and then we'll get into some player performance stuff. The first half was a little bit like, do you know what I mean? It felt up until literally like the 43rd minute or something, whenever the first goal was scored. It really felt like it could have gone either way. We dominated possession. They did the low block counter-attacking thing that we expected them to do, and they had some dangerous looking moments. So up until things started clicking and working, it really felt like it could go either way. We looked comfortable with the ball, absolutely, but at the same time there were a few moments where they really just cut us open quite easily, and it was like, ultimately it was their lack of quality that kind of saw us get through that first half, I think. So there is a subtle and fine art to making predictions when it comes to football, and apparently I just don't have it. I was pretty convinced that we were going to go full strength because of obviously the kind of shock loss to Flamengo, and figuring we wanted to try and get through this competition. I didn't think this would be a time to rotate and try different things, because even though, as I kind of mentioned before, obviously Tunisia is not exactly the highest level of opposition. I think anything can happen in this competition. We've seen that a few times now. And so I thought we'd go with a much stronger starting 11 than we actually did. But ultimately, it doesn't matter because, we got the win. So that's really cool. In goal, we had Philip Jorgensen, and he was there, wasn't he? He was there. He was also on the pitch at the same time as the rest of the guys. Maybe that's a little bit harsh, but, he made a couple of saves and that. But ultimately, I don't know. It's a weird one with Jorgensen, right? When Sanchez is in goal, my heart races with pure sheer anxiety. And when you see, you remember back in the days of having like someone like Czech or Courtois in goal, you feel really confident and assured. Jorgensen just fits somewhere squarely in the middle, where I don't see, I'm not scared and I'm not anxious, but at the same time, I'm not like feeling really assured. He was just kind of a passenger. He's still really young. I don't think he's, got a shot at being our starting goalkeeper for the next season or even the season after that. But ultimately, Jorgensen was there, and we got a clean sheet, so props to him for that, I guess. So Reece James and Levi Colwill had been reported as ill, and Levi Colwill had been training with the team, but Reece James hadn't. They both were on the bench. I assumed we'd start them both, but I was wrong in that respect. So the back line at right back, we started with Josh Achiempong, and my giddy aunt, what a game he had. Wow, this kid looks so good, doesn't he? I mentioned in a video the other day about Gusto, when I was talking about Gusto leaving and, what would we do to replace him? And I think Josh Achiempong is he's just there. He's just that guy. He's not the same kind of player. He's not going to push up into that number 8 spot. He looks assured as a defender, and he definitely loves taking the ball forward and making runs and trying to make things happen and putting the odd long ball over and stuff. Josh Achiempong really looks like one for the future, and I would not be surprised to see him play a lot more this year. He had an outstanding game. A centre-back partnership of Uncle Tosin, who I did predict, and Benoit Badiashile. So Tosin got the first goal. It was a nice goal. We know this about Tosin. He does like getting a goal, and he brings obviously that bit of experience and leadership to the team, which is also good. He did almost cost us a goal, literally within 60 seconds of scoring one, so that was a little bit worrying. Not an amazing performance from him, but his goal was good. And you need a player like that sometimes, don't you? Someone who can just unlock a moment, and then obviously after that, everything else just started to kind of come together a bit more. Badiashile, again, just a bit of a passenger, man. Do you know what I mean? Sort of similar to how I feel about Jorgensen. When Badiashile's there, I don't feel like, like when Disasi plays, you're a bit like, something, that the David Luiz effect or whatever. You're like, maybe something bad can happen here. It's not really like that with Badiashile, but at the same time, I don't feel like, wicked, I'm really glad that Badiashile's in the team. He makes little errors and he lets things get past him, but he also makes good blocks, and do you know what I mean? Again, a bit of a bit of a 50-50 kind of guy for me, but Badiashile did okay. Not anything amazing. I'll be happy to see Levi Colwill take that spot back when he's feeling better. And warning, rant alert. Now, I will try not to go too much into this one, but Malo Gusto started at left back, and that's generous to say it was left back because this is a tactical thing, right? He's not making this decision himself. I get that Maresca is getting him to do this, but I don't understand why. He just lives in that number 8 spot. Do you know what I mean? What I will say is Malo Gusto did track back and make a few clutch, tackles and recoveries and stuff in, throughout the game. So that's good. He's just a bit of a, I don't know, a passenger again. Do you know what I mean? This is a term I'm obviously throwing around quite a lot today. And there's another player or two that I think that's about who played as well. He seems to be okay and knit things together, and you see him a lot, right? You do see him a lot. You're always like, oh, look, there's Malo Gusto. There he is. He's got the ball. He's made a pass. But whenever he tries something progressive or tries to make a big moment, it just doesn't really come off, does it? Maybe I'm biased just because there's a lot of news going around about Malo Gusto at the moment, and although I do like him as a player, I just don't think this get him in left back / number 8 / right back / number 10 role is really working for him because he hasn't got end product, right? I feel like he's spending too much time involved in the game without making anything happen. And that's kind of frustrating. Do you know what I mean? Is like, I'd much rather see him pass the ball to an Enzo Fernández or Noni Madueke or some, do you know what I mean? Be constantly trying to get it in and around to these people. But I just keep seeing Malo Gusto get on the ball, look impressive for a moment and dribble past someone or, get in a good scoring position or something like that. And it just never comes off. It just never comes off. So, yeah, Gusto for me, he had a good game. Do you know what I mean? He had a good game. Obviously, if we'd have lost this game, then I'd be more angry. Do you know what I mean? Because I'd be like, Gusto's useless and he never makes anything happen. It's difficult to go in on him because obviously we did win the game and he did play for most of it. So, although he had a reasonable game, I saw more to kind of strengthen the idea that maybe Gusto isn't right for this team than I saw things to say, oh yeah, actually he's really good, we should keep him around. Interesting midfield start because I don't think, it's probably happened at least once, but I don't in memory remember seeing Lavia and Enzo Fernández play together. So we'll start with Lavia. Lavia was good. Lavia had a really, really good game. He definitely was kind of a sole 6 in this kind of game rather than being, normally we do this like box midfield thing, don't we, where the fullback pushes up and you've got two 6s kind of thing. Because Gusto was pushing so high, like all of the time, definitely felt like Lavia was taking a lot of that responsibility on his own. I think he did a really good job. Loads of good tackles, loads of good passes, ultimately solid performance. The player ratings that I'm looking at say ultimately that he actually didn't have as good a game as Gusto, but I would disagree. I think that he appeared a bit less, but I think that he, contributed more, weirdly, because he's actually performing the role that he's supposed to perform. So yeah, Lavia, wicked. Glad to see him back, looking good again, to be honest. And then we come to our vice-captain, Enzo Fernández, and what a game he had. Oh, man. And this is what I was saying at the start, right? A game of moments. So we did, for the first half especially, we didn't look like we were always constantly trying to make things happen. It was very much like we're having all of the ball. There's a low block and there was a few moments and stuff. We were definitely struggling to cut through. Enzo Fernández was a huge part of breaking the deadlock with a free kick over for Tosin Adarabioyo's goal. And it was great. Do you know what I mean? It was a really, really nice free kick. It is one of those things where this is the Enzo that I thought we were buying when we bought him. The one that we saw today is the one that I thought we were going to see when we bought him, obviously, but it's taken him a while to kind of get there and stuff. But Enzo was obviously a great passer and is really capable of moments of quality and creating like really important key passes and moments for other Chelsea players to take advantage of. Obviously, he's developing this thing where he can arrive in the box and score a goal, but today I saw personally what I've been wanting to see from Enzo, which is a commanding deep line midfielder who can unlock a low block, whether it be through a set piece or whether it be through the other goal, which we're going to get into in a minute. Enzo Fernández had a great game, and if there was absolutely any weight to the rumours about Real Madrid coming in for him after this game, that's just not going to happen, is it? Especially with how excited he looked when Delap got his first goal, which, like I said, we'll get onto in a minute. So the attacking three was a little bit weird. We started Noni Madueke on the left, and to continue with the positive vibes, he looked much, much, much better today. I mean, I have to temper all of this a little bit. It's not we haven't just beaten Real Madrid. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, it's a Tunisian team. But compared to his last outing and last few outings in a Chelsea shirt on that left side, he looks really, really up for it today. And I feel like, now, maybe I'm, maybe I'm getting a bit ahead of myself, but I feel like he's starting to click with that left-sided role a little bit more than he has been. He put in some really, really nice passes. His work rate was really good. He generally looked like one of our more dangerous players. There's been rumours about people like Arsenal and Newcastle being in for buying Noni Madueke. And that's the kind of thing that I think will come back to bite us on the behind if we do. I think Noni Madueke can be a really, really good player. I think we're being really priced out for a lot of left-sided attackers at the moment. So going in for 2 maybe doesn't feel quite as odds on as it did at the beginning of the window. But ultimately, if Noni Madueke can consistently play like this on the left side and start trying to add goals and assists to his game, which although he didn't get any today, there was definitely a few moments where it was like, oh, he nearly scored a lovely goal. It went just wide. And there was a couple of really nice inward passes to try and bring people in. I know it's still not ideal because he's very left-footed. Do you know what I mean? He's not a super right-footed guy. But if he can keep that confidence and be an option there, then maybe we can keep him and maybe he still keeps growing with us. And I'm really up for that because I think he's a great player. Okay, so the other 2 players in the lineup on attacking midfield were a bit more unusual. Christopher Nkunku played in the centre of attack, and I don't really get this because by all accounts, he's going to get sold, right? He's going to get sold, purely from a standpoint of who else do you put there? And it's like, oh, okay, yeah, that's fair enough. And, it's there's not really any other obvious options to put into that centre attack when Cole Palmer isn't playing, and obviously Cole Palmer got a rest today. But again, like a couple of the other players I've mentioned, Nkunku was ostensibly a passenger in this game. He definitely tried 100%, but he's too attack-minded to be a centre attacking midfielder. Not too attack-minded, but he just lives a little bit more forward. Do you know what I mean? He's very direct. He's always thinking about scoring a goal, and he's not very good at linking play and stuff. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I wasn't hugely impressed by Christopher Nkunku in this game, but I guess there's no one else you can put in there, so you got to put someone in there, right? But yeah, it's not really made that much happen for me, Christopher Nkunku. I do think we're going to sell him. Obviously, the news has been about Man United being in for him. I think he needs to be in a formation like Ruben Amorim's Manchester United, where he plays with two 10s, but Christopher Nkunku is not a 10. Do you know what I mean? He's not a 10, he's not a striker. He's, dare I say it, like the Joshua Zirkzee, almost like a 9.5, right? So in a formation like ours, where we need a number 9 and a 10, he kind of needs to be in a spot in between that. He was a shadow striker at Red Bull Leipzig, right? That was kind of his thing. He wasn't just a number 9 and he wasn't a number 10, and that pocket of space doesn't exist really readily in our team. Whatever, man. He didn't make anything bad happen. He didn't particularly make anything good happen. As well, you got to think that some people really took their opportunities against this Tunisian team, and Christopher Nkunku wasn't able to do that. And on the right wing, Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall. I mean, this is just an options thing at the moment, isn't it? Like, how have we spent £1 billion and even as a rotational option, we're putting Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall on the right wing? He didn't play that bad. Do you know what I mean? He was okay. He's, as a right winger, you would say he's a bit more like Cole Palmer than he is like Neto, but he's like the Lidl version of Cole Palmer. Do you know what I mean? It's he's obviously not a really, really fast player. Do you know what I mean? He's not really a very attack-minded, got an eye for a goal kind of guy, but he did do a job there and, took a couple of all right corners and stuff. But yeah, another one, this is kind of similar to Christopher Nkunku, isn't it, is I assume he's probably going to go. Do you know what I mean? I don't, with Adarabioyo coming in especially, and obviously with us buying more wingers, and our midfield is stacked now, absolutely stacked. I don't see much space for Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall in the team. He was okay, and fair enough. Thank you, Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall, for being okay against a Tunisian team. And up front, is the curse broken? Okay, let's not get excited. Let's not get excited with the pretext. Of course, I've said it a couple of times. It was Esperance, but Liam Delap took his goal really, really well. And that idea of this potential link up between him and Enzo Fernández on a regular basis is tantalising. So another thing to help me temper my expectation was I remember something similar happening at the beginning of Enzo Fernández's career at Chelsea with Kai Havertz. There was this stunning, sublime assist to, a moment from Enzo to Kai Havertz, and Kai Havertz scored the goal, and we were like, oh my god, this is it, this is going to be amazing. I have more faith in Liam Delap than I did in Kai Havertz, to be honest, because positionally we know what he is a lot more, and the kind of goal he took yesterday, that was a proper lovely striker's goal. Enzo Fernández clipped a ball over, Liam Delap took it to his feet, shrugged off, dropped his shoulder, turned around and put it past the keeper really, really calmly, and it was a lovely finish. Must say, you would have, if you've seen the goal, you've seen the highlights, or you watched the game, you would have to say that the keeper should have done better there. Do you know what I mean? He just looked kind of frozen, didn't he? Not to take anything away from Liam Delap, because it's so important that he's got his first goal in a competitive match as well. This isn't pre-season. This is, I guess, a Conference League level kind of game. That's good. Liam Delap took a great goal, and I was really, really pleased. Everyone was really, really pleased. No one more than Enzo Fernández. If you've seen a thumbnail from my video, that was a very true brotherly embrace that they had. So if their bromance can turn into some sort of, sidekick link where this sort of thing happens all the time, Enzo is going to start looking for Liam Delap in these situations on a regular basis. That is genuinely something we can start getting really excited about, despite the level of opposition. So yes, Liam Delap, he's arrived. The curse is broken. It's finally over. And the subs is another part of the story that gets interesting. Dario Vasugo came on for Romeo Lavia, looked up for it. He's got a bit of bite about him. Dario Vasugo played for half an hour, and we still, even with swapping him out for Romeo Lavia, we completely dominated the game. So Dario Vasugo, yeah, cool. He's young, he's got energy, he's got attitude and personality, and I'm up for it. Cool. And then the return of 6'2" Mark Gu. Yeah, so Liam Delap obviously got his goal. Maybe we were all sad to see him taken off because, obviously we're greedy and we wanted to see him get another one. I'm sure he would have done too, but it probably was the right thing to do. Seeing as we've got no Nicholas Jackson, we need to keep him fit for now what is coming up to the round of 16 where we play against Benfica. So Mark Gui came on and did exactly what I remember Mark Gui doing when we had him on the few times before he got injured. He is a pressing monster, man. He just runs and runs and runs. He's like a dog with a bone. Yeah, cool. Mark Yu came in, did an all right job. Didn't look like anything amazing was going to happen, but good job. And then finally, another collective sigh of relief that all of us Chelsea fans breathed was the moment that Andre Santos came on the field. So he came on for Enzo Fernández with about 20 minutes to go. And I think it's fair to say that although, and again, it's too easy to be biased, isn't it? Because, I think a lot of us just really want him to come in and do really, really, really well. I've been telling anyone that will listen that I think he'll challenge Enzo Fernández for that spot. Now, based on this game, maybe that's not going to happen straight away because Enzo is now starting to reach levels. Do you know what I mean? He obviously got like 14 assists last year. He was so commanding in this game and he can arrive with a late goal. Okay, maybe I was a little bit overzealous with that one, but ultimately, Andre Santos came in and had a really good game. And do you know what? Within the first minute of him being on the pitch, there was little 1-2s, and do you know what I mean? He was, lots of energy, lots of pace. He was running around, looking like he was trying to make things happen, and it was a really good sight to see. And ultimately, he came off of his first competitive appearance for Chelsea with an assist. Right? He got an assist. It was a really good assist for Tyreek George, which we'll get onto in a minute, and it was kind of he drifted onto the left wing almost because Tyreek George found himself really, really central and he made something happen in a really short space of time. That's super promising, right? That's super, super, super promising. So rejoice, Chelsea fans. He made it. He got on the pitch in a Chelsea shirt and made something happen that has to have made Maresca stand up and go, okay, maybe we've got something on here. Let's not be too hasty about shipping him back on loan or selling him for 30 mil so we can get a few bit of money on the books. Hopefully, even with that small cameo, we've seen enough to prove that he deserves a shot in this team for the year, at least. Tyreek George also came on, and Tyreek George looked really good today. I find Tyreek George often, obviously he's a really young player, right? Really young player. So, this isn't unexpected by any stretch of the imagination. But I find Tyreek George a lot of the time is a functional cog in the machine, right? He's there and he makes things happen. But I very rarely see moments from Tyreek George. Obviously, he scored a few goals in that, but you want to see players looking dangerous, don't you? And looking like they're going to make things happen. And I saw that a couple of times from Tyreek George today. He really got the ball, tried to beat his man, and ultimately his goal was great. It was really powerful strike, man. Really, really powerful strike. It went through the goalkeeper. Do you know what I mean? So that's really promising as well. If Tyreek George is, he's another year older, for instance, he's got a full season's, I say a full season, he didn't play but he played a lot last season and he's got all of that experience under his belt now. If we don't buy another left winger, then Tyreek George stays. If we do buy another left winger, maybe he stays, maybe he goes. It depends on the Noni Madueke situation. If we get two left wingers, he has to go. And last but not least, all of the new boys came on today because Mamadou Sarr made his first appearance as well. We replaced Josh Achiempong right at the end of the game. And yeah, okay, it didn't really make anything happen. Do you know what I mean? We were already 2-0 up, but I think, he was on for the last goal. but we were already 2-0 up. Admirably replaced. Josh Achiempong looked to be much more of a right centre-back and didn't spend any time like trying to get forward or invert or put things forward and make things happen. So nowhere near enough of a sample size to judge, but obviously good to see him on the pitch. So yeah, that's it, guys. We did it. We won a game of football. Woo! And we beat LAFC, right? But this win felt more comprehensive, and it feels like a lot of the little stories that went on in this game are more important than what happened in the LAFC game. The LAFC game was basically like, it felt like we should have won and we got the win and whatever, but there's so many little things today, like Liam Delap getting his first goal, Enzo Fernández unlocking his inner Fabregas, Andre Santos coming on, obviously Tyreek George scoring an absolute belter right at the dying embers of the game. We move on to Benfica in the round of 16s. We know Benfica. Do you know what I mean? Well, obviously, we've got a storied history of buying and selling players. Looks like João Felix might head back there, for instance. We know that they can be dangerous. Benfica are always a good team, and obviously they're in this competition. Do you know what I mean? The fact that they're in this competition means in recent memory they've been one of the better teams in Portugal. So that's it, guys. Nice one. As ever, if you do enjoy the content, I'm at the very beginning of my race to 1,000 subs, and I need your guys' help. So please do me the distinct honour of liking, sharing, and subscribing. Hit the algorithmical buttons. And let's get this ball rolling so I can bring more of this content to you more often, better quality. Let's go. Thanks for sticking around. I hope you enjoyed the video and I hope you have a wicked day. Take it easy, guys. Peace.